let's do a review of this then. It's the Beko WTG620M1W. This follows on from the WMP series, so it carries on the super slimline depth washing machines. Although, to be fair, not that slim, because according to Beko, it is 44 centimeters deep, making it 2 centimeters deeper than the old Beko WMP 511 that it's kind of replaced, basically. And this followed on with also new programming, new motors, new drum, new everything. It's completely brand new design and continuation of that simple recipe of a cheap, slimline, small capacity with a basic program set to make it easy to use. Shall we have a look then? At the bottom, we've got filter flap there, put it back, we've got our drain hose, and we've got our clean filter there. We've got our door, we've got our 1 year registration guarantee on the door. I'll just leave it there. Door handle there, pull to open it. We've got our ratings plate there, and we've got the updated drum. So, still the same big holes in the drum. The bit ovalized, you know, quite like, they're more like ovals rather than the circles. We've got these new drum paddles in. But essentially it's still, I believe, still a 39 litre drum. Maybe 6 kilogram capacity and a slim depth, but it is big enough for single people and couples. We have a choice of 15 programs written out around the program dial here, with on off being here. And then we've got these 3 buttons here. We've got variable spin, time delay, and obviously start pause. We've also got child lock, which is available by pushing the spin and time delay buttons together for 3 seconds. Doesn't really do much. All it does is just disable the start pause. Right. Anyway, let's start then. So we have cottons 20, 40 and 90. All of these take on 6 kilograms of heavily soiled cotton, done in 3 hours. They all do 3 rinses standard. Then we've got cotton 60 with a pre-wash. So it's your normal cotton 60 with a 20-minute, 30-degree pre-wash stage before the main wash commences. So in total it's 3 hours, 20 minutes. Then you've got Cotton's Eco 60 and 40. Both of these programs give the machine its energy rating of an A+++ energy rating for the time. Even today, that converts down to an A energy rated machine. That's pretty good. That means it uses just about 45 litres of water and 0.75 kilowatts of energy to do a full load of heavily soiled cotton at 60 degrees. But it's not quite 60, of course. It's at reduced temperature, prolonged. How prolonged? It's 4 hours and 10 minutes for a full load. If it's half load, it will take off around 45 minutes or so. Right, then we've got variable spin here. So 1200 RPM is your maximum spin speed. You can have 1000, 800, 600 RPM. Then we've got rinse hold. So at the end of the final rinse, the machine will continue to soak the washing in the fabric softener to keep it fresh and to keep it crease free. And when you're ready, you can then advance that to the final spin if you wish. Turn it off completely. We've got this little no spin icon here. It's not an LED, but all LEDs off means no spin. And that will cancel all the intermediate spins and the final spin, leaving your washing soaking wet. That is quite handy to have if you're actually washing something that is going to be hard to spin. So if you're washing one item, for example, like a big bath mat or a big coat or something like that, and it's going to struggle to try and balance it, you might want to just use no spin first, and then after that you spin and drain, along with a few other items to spin that one item, for example. Then we've got time delay. These are in hours, so we've got 3, 6 and 9 hours. Not much of a positive clip there. Just going to say this does require a set of new buttons. They will be on order, and they will be fitted soon. Very cheap to do anyway, but the whole machine still works for now. So anyway, 3, 6 and 9 hours time delay, and that's time delay before the start of the cycle. So you load up as normal, select the program, select how many hours, and it will count down how many hours from there till the start of the cycle. Right, then we've got start, pause here. Then we've got little indicators here as well. We've got time delay, so that will light when it's in time delay mode. We've got wash, which will remain lit even if during the pre-wash. Then we've got rinse, which will light up during the rinses stage. And then obviously spin, which will light up during the final spin stage. And then you got end, which will light up as well. You got cancel there with dashes. So during the cancel stage, the end light will actually flash during that period before finally switching off. Then we've got door lock and child lock. Right, then we've got rinse and spin. It is one fabric softener rinse followed by the cotton's length spin. Total time of 20 minutes to do that. Great for freshening up stuff if it just needs fabric softener, whatever, or you just need to re-rinse stuff. Then you've got spin and drain. So any spin speed, it will do a 12-minute cotton length spin. If we say to no spin and switch spin off, it'll do drain only in 2 minutes, and then it'll switch off. Then we've got drum clean. So the idea of this is you put nothing in, you put a cleaner in if you want, or just leave it, because this will be effective, quite effective on its own. And what it'll do, it will heat up the water to 90 degrees and spin that boiling hot water to the very top of the drum, where crud and debris get stuck within the plastic or the upper parts of the tub in the machine. That will create the smells and poor wash performance. It is 2 hours 40. Don't put any washing in, of course. Just use it as, let it do its thing. Downlight at 40 degrees allows you to wash 1.5 kilograms of sort of padded stuff, let's say. Stuff like big jackets, sleeping bags, pillows, cushions, stuff like that. It uses a lot more water during the wash and rinse stage. It's only now 45. Then you've got synthetics 20 and 40 degrees. This allows you to wash 2.5 kilograms, so not quite half a load, of man-made fibres such as nylon and polyester in 2 hours. It does run a 1200 spin, but the 1200 spin is a lot shorter than the cotton's final spin. Then you got hand wash at 40. This is actually the wool program at 40 degrees. It's an hour 5 minutes long. So it allows you to wash 1.5 kilograms of wool, all stuff marked as hand wash. Runs a very short 1200 RPM spin at the end. Has very gentle action, so very occasional tumbling during the entire cycle. Shirts 40 allows you to wash 2.5 kilograms of shirts, which is quite a lot actually. Effectively, it's a synthetic cycle with an easy iron option attached to it, and Fast Plus, because this is only 80 minutes long. So if you have the upper models of Beko, shirts is actually about 2 hours long, just like synthetics. But with Fast Plus, that drops it down to an hour 20. So this has basically shirts is synthetics 40 with reduce creasing, and fast plus. Get it? Yeah, maybe not. But it allows you to wash 2.5 kilograms of shirts, and because of the slow and short 800 RPM spin that's done in stages, they will come out relatively crease free. We've got Daily Quick at 30 degrees. This allows you to wash a full load at 30 degrees in 28 minutes. That is lightly soiled. It does a short 1200 RPM spin. But it still does 2 rinses, which is great. One of the best 30-minute washers going out there. Personally though, I wouldn't wash a full load myself. I'd only put about half in. I think putting a full load in is kind of pushing it a little bit for the Daily Quick. I should test it out one day. But yeah, maybe I might do actually. Test it out one day. Right, so your detergent drawer. So we've got this little compartment here for the pre-wash detergent if you're selecting cotton 60 with a pre-wash. If you are selecting the cycle, you need to put detergent in both sides, both compartments, this single, this small one, and this large one. For every other normal wash cycle, you just put detergent into this big compartment here if you've got powder. If you've got liquid, you can pull this over and then push it down. That'll click into place, and then we can pour liquid in, and we can pour up to 100 millilitres in. And if we're not, and we're just using powder, we lift it up, and we push it and clip it out the way. That's neat. Then we've got our fabric softener compartment here. That'll take on around 75 millilitres of fabric softener. Right, let's give this out of 10 then. Well, don't know exactly what went on with that cycle. It seemed to do the rinse cycle with the fabric softener, go to drain, went on to spin, then went backwards for some reason. I went back to rinse again. No idea why. Right. Apart from that, what to give it out of 10 then? Well, it's very well built, just like the previous Slimline, but it does perform better in a lot of ways. Both wash and rinse performance are a lot better. You certainly get a lot more water within the rinses on a normal cotton cycle, and if you do want to save energy and water, you can use the eco cycles and they will save you a lot of water. Yeah, so what to give this out of 10 then? Well, solid 8 out of 10. Obviously, apart from this button set, the programs are quite long and are not really adjustable at all. There's no auto half load either. I've tried it many times. There doesn't seem to be an auto half load at all anywhere in it, which is really bizarre for a machine that then, you know, carries out a 3-hour cotton cycle. You can't escape that either, in that sense. You can't put, say, like half a load in and do it in 2 hours. If you wanted automatic half load, you had to buy the upper model. I guess that's a good marketing ploy. You know, you want you know, more features, you buy higher model. But if you want a washing machine that washes clothes well, reliably, and for a good price, this is probably the best on the market at the time. You wouldn't have had this, obviously, Indesit and whatever Vestal were churning out at the time, or Media were churning out at the time. So this would have been up against sort of like this, obviously the Indesit IW SC61251 and probably something like the Logic L612WM16 or something like that. Something like that, and maybe a Bosch of some sort, some description from Argos. And out of them lots, the Beko does perform, or seem to give you, the best performance for the money. The only thing that the Indesit kind of gave you was a little bit more flexibility in terms of like variable temperature and stuff. But no Indesit, they're not quite as good as a Beko, but that's also a really good alternative. As for the two other alternatives, especially from like Media and from Vestal, the Vestal was horrid and the Media, not bad, but it still didn't perform as well as either of these. It does seem to be that as things go, cheaper is better usually, and usually more reliable. Right, I hope you enjoyed this review. Give us a like if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to comment down below. I'd love to hear your feedback about it. Subscribe for more washing machine content if you haven't done so already, hitting that red subscribe button. And I'll see you in another video, so bye for now.